Amending the 2020 county budget and capital plan in relation to the Watertown International Airport Aircraft Rescue Firefighting Facility Construction Project.
And motion, please. Mr. McBride, Mr. Cantwell. Discussion. Everybody spread out. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Next resolution is amending 2020 county budget in relation to the fuel farm repairs at the Watertown International Airport.
More repairs. And motion, please. Mr. Maxon, Ms. Grant. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Authorize an agreement in relation to the fiscal year 20 Emergency Management Performance Grant.
May I have a motion, please? Mr. Doldo. Mr. Cantwell. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Next is authorize an agreement amending 2020 county budget in relation to the fiscal year 20 State Homeland Security Program Grant.
May I have a motion, please? Mr. Ferris, Mr. Maxon. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Establishing time and place for public hearing on the 2020 inclusions of viable agricultural land in the New York State Certified Agricultural District.
May I have a motion, please? Ms. Grant, Mr. McBride. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Establishing time and place for public hearing related to the 2020 Community Development Block Grant process.
May I have a motion, please? Mr. Cantwell, Mr. Ferris. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Amending the 2020 county budget and recognize insurance recovery and allocating same in the Sheriff's Department budget.
May I have a motion, please? Mr. Maxon, Mr. Doldo. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Authorizing agreements and amending the 2020 county budget in relation to the state fiscal year state law enforcement terrorism prevention program grant.
Motion, Mr. Ferris. Mr. Cantwell. Discussion. Mr. Ferris.
In this case, it's mobile data terminals and other equipment for the police cruisers primarily.
Mr. Maxon.
By mobile data terminal, this is their computer in the car?
Yes.
Correct. That's the end of the resolution. Oh, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We have a discussion item, dealing with Mr. Borsi's department. You want to comment anything on this, Mike? This appointment? You have a letter.
There's a need for one more. A person has been designated from that agency, wasn't able to accept the position.
Okay.
So we've always had the FDR, HPO, thank you. Wow. We've always had them represented, so Erica Flint is the executive director, so the recommendation is to have her sit on the SEDS committee. And what has to occur is concurrence, recommendation is really from the chairman, concurrence with his recommendation.
And our chairman has sent us that letter. Any questions for the chairman or Mr. Borsi or Mr. Hagman? Is the committee in concurrence with the appointment? Okay. We'll move that forward, Mr. Hagman.
Yes, thank you.
While we have Mr. Borsi on the hot seat, any questions, concerns for him? None? Great. Appreciate the department heads coming. Joe, do you have anything to share with us? Mr. Lawrence has the night off. We did receive, which I'll send to the group, the latest, we had a request from the media about the where we were at, if there were any conditions changing at the transfer site because of COVID. Usually we do this twice a year, but we ran it for August. I'll send that out to the group. I just sent it to Mr. Hagman today. We have had probably, it'll show a 3-year trend, but there's been an uptick in the recycling. I would say once we get the sale of the materials, it's probably the bulk of that would be cardboard would be the guess, right, Corey? Because it was coming out the door when she did her tour out there. So, but good news is recycling has remained on the upswing over the last 2.5 years, and trash the solid waste has remained steady. So overall, solid operation out there. But I'll send these out to the group tomorrow morning. Anything else, Mr. Doldo?
Thanks. Just one quick question. I didn't notice this right away on the public hearing. I noticed the time's at 5:15. Is the meeting getting moved earlier, I'm assuming, or?
No, that's not, anybody's more than welcome to participate or attend, but it's not required. But that's why we did it for the same night. So in theory, if some board members from this committee wanted to be there, they're more than welcome.
Going back to the transfer site numbers, I think that they thought that maybe we were having a really strong thing, one way or the other. It's really kind of remained steady. You can't contribute, the consensus is you can't really contribute any month to COVID as far as reactionary things for the transfer site. So I neglected to say that earlier, so it's really kind of a non-issue, but you should know where we're at as far as budgetary items for the sale of those materials. At this time, we've asked Grant Susi to come and give us a briefing at the airport. There's a lot of things going on out there. I won't steal his thunder. We've talked about the list, and there's about 5 or 6 really exciting items that have gone on there, so we've asked Grant to come and brief our committee on that. So all's yours, Grant.
Okay, thank you, Chairman Reed, members of the committee. Yeah, we've been all out at the airport in a number of different items over the last several months, and I wanted to share kind of a list of things. I'll try to keep it to 2 hours.
Feel free to extend it on.
So just recently we had and these are a list of different things that are been happening in no particular order, but just recently over Labor Day weekend we had over 100 soldiers that deployed to Fort Polk for some training. Fort Drum at Wheeler Sac, they were doing some runway construction and repairs that didn't allow them to do some troop movements. So they utilized our airfield to deploy these soldiers for their training exercises down south. And it really was a great exercise for our staff and our airport to show our capabilities and what we could do to back up Fort Drum. So it was probably the first military airlift charter in decades at the airport. They used to occur more often before Wheeler Sac was developed to where it is today. So great job to our team and Fort Drum's transportation team and Allegiant Airlines. They operated the Airbus 320 that came in.
Is that picture on Facebook?
It is on Facebook, yep. We posted several pictures that kind of show the troop movement. The Airbus is a 177-seat aircraft that came in and picked up the soldiers and took them down. We did have a slight delay. Allegiant was running a couple hours late for that movement, so we had a last-minute adjustment, and we were able to work with some of our partners at Sam's Club to provide some pizza to the soldiers before they went down to their training, so that worked out very well. The other items down here, we have the runway rehabilitation project that is progressing nicely. Recently we just passed a major milestone that included a 96-hour closure while the intersection pavement was redone. And really a monumental task. Our contractor, our engineering team, and our airport staff all worked together to complete the milling, subsurface repairs, the edge lighting installation, signage installation, paving, compaction, and then the final inspection all within that 96 hours and reopen the airport on time. So great success on that major milestone in that project. Yep.
still selling tickets, correct? For after the Thursday at noon.
Oh, yes, yeah, they were coming in.
So there was not a lot of
yeah.
margin for error, and they worked around the clock, and actually, didn't we have aircraft landing on that surface Thursday afternoon?
Yeah, the first aircraft took off at 11:02. 11 o'clock was the scheduled opening, and we had an aircraft depart 2 minutes after it opened.
It's amazing,
And
complicated,
Yeah.
yeah, amazing, complicated accomplishment, so no easy task for sure.
Yes, and we communicated with all of our tenants and stakeholders and the public about the closure for those that were affected. And yeah, we had kind of a busy time right before the runway closed. Some operators getting their aircraft to other airports nearby, Oswego, Ogdensburg, Syracuse. And then right as we opened back up, people were coming back in. So it all worked pretty seamless, and everybody was pretty happy that the timelines were adhered to.
Life flight was still operational, right?
Yeah, yeah. So
Just
both
fixed wing?
both the runways are closed. The airport was still operational for helicopters. So yeah, so that project's progressing. They're still working on the north work area B and work area A on the south part, while they continue to do those lighting and signage and the pavement for that runway. The runway is 5,000 feet long. It's their secondary crosswind runway, the one that's nearest to 12F when we drive by. The other project that's going on out there is our ARF building construction project, and that's coming along very well. Our contractors are doing some good work with all the COVID procedures in place, and that project's estimated to be on time as well towards the end of this year. It'll be completed. The baggage claim project is progressing slower than we would like. The final state paperwork just came back recently, and so the design is commenced. They've done some test boring and electrical review to ensure proper electrical service in the building for the new baggage belt. So it's continuing in the design process. Passenger numbers. Our passenger numbers are down considerably, just like they are across the country. American remains a strong partner to us, and they've been maintaining pretty steady, regular service compared to some of our airports in New York. They've had quite a few last-minute schedule changes and whatnot, but because of our safety blanket with the Essential Air Service program, they've been maintaining those flights pretty regularly. So we appreciate that. The travel restrictions have no doubt put our state on non-parallel tracks with other states, and those restrictions in place, continue to hurt our passenger numbers. In the month of August, our numbers were down about 62%. The state average is around 80%, so we fared a little bit better than our peers when it comes to our passenger percentages that were down. Most likely attributed to approved DoD travel and essential travel that was occurring during the period. I'd like to commend our airport team. Our airport employees worked throughout the pandemic in ensuring safe and efficient travel of the traveling public and the essential public that was traveling, and ensuring the airport remained open. They were working throughout the pandemic during the middle of it and up to now, and they've been doing their duty, and we truly appreciate their work or I do personally, from the cleaner all the way up to the senior maintenance mechanics. They've been doing a great job. One of the things that's kind of helped our staff lately is we've been participating in a Fort Drum Career Services program, which allows transitioning soldiers out of the Army to participate in internships. So we have 2 to 3 internships at a time at the airport with soldiers that are transitioning out of the military. And we help them in, kind of getting their first civilian work experience and learning aviation type matters, and they're doing really well, and it helps supplement our staff and assist in doing duties, and appreciate what they're doing as well as we continue with that program. Many of the soldiers are very interested in aviation careers, so it gives them the opportunity to network with pilots that are coming in and out and talk with them about career aspirations. And then this Thursday, with Mr. Plummer's help, we have our airport emergency tabletop exercise that we'll be conducting. every year we do it, and this year will be our first hybrid event, so we'll have some people in person as well as online to participate. So we look forward to conducting that. And that's kind of just the latest. There are a couple other things that we're working on, different projects related to the infrastructure improvements, airfield drainage, our Malzar approach lighting system, de-icer, the SOARS marketing grant, environmental assessment, and our AF testing equipment that is ongoing. So all those things propelling the safe and efficient operation of the airport and continuing our charge and maintaining and improving and making the facility as operationally efficient as we can into the future.
Thank you, Grant. Any questions, comments? I'm sure if anybody wants to take a ride out there, just give Grant a call and you can see the activity that's going on. That was really 3 and 5 years in the planning, and it's just all kind of coming together at one time. So we also have the other hangar still in the development stage, planning stage.
Yes, yeah, we're in design phase for the air ambulance hangar. Right now we're working through kind of the final design. We'll be putting that out to bid soon as well. That's for our medevac operation that is at the airport. It's been a very good tenant in terms of fuel sales and work that they do in our community, you know, as they transport our hurt and severely ill people to trauma centers in Syracuse. So we're thankful to have them at the airport and look forward to developing this facility for them and being able to open a little bit more space so we can look for other tenants and work with other jets as far as rental space in where they are now. So
That was a New York State grant?
yeah, it was through the New York State Aviation Capital Program.
Very good. Anything else? Yeah. Nope, that's future projects. Well, thank you, Grant. Again, if anybody wants to take a ride out there, just give them a call. And a lot of this has been a long time in the planning stages, similar to the radio project that's coming online. So very busy time for this committee's work that has been long time planning and long time construction. So thank you everybody for their efforts. Joe, do you have anything on the radio? Thank you, Grant. I know we had a exciting fire advisory board meeting last night.
Yeah, it was just riveting.
It was good. It was good.
It wasn't a bad meeting. It's always a great meeting. They get everybody together and visit, so it went well.
But there's some exciting developments that are going to happen in that world too. So
Yep, we got to work through some of that. EMS is a growing problem, or not problem, but business, I guess is a good way to put it, just as we're seeing with the air ambulance there, where they're doing very well and thriving, and there's a lot on the horizon for them.
it was glad to see how well they're doing compared to where it was 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah, the EMS
It's really
office is really doing well, as
really
we learned
does well,
last
yeah.
night on some virtual training and things like that. They're working well with the state and getting a lot of people trained and trying to, so.
It was encouraging to hear that a lot of young people are going to the training and wanting to get involved in that field. So it's oftentimes you're not hearing people jumping into that.
They did have a
volunteer stuff.
fantastic program going with South Jeff schools and stuff, but COVID is being a problem, as it is for all of us, type thing. But as far as the radio project goes, we are moving along. Last week, the coverage testing was completed on the UHF, basically the portable radio side of the house out there. So we're waiting for the results to come back from that. But from what I saw in the raw data, that we passed pretty well. So we'll get that stuff out. We are fully aware of the paging issues that are going on around the county, and we've been working with Motorola on that. I actually had an hour-and-a-half conference call with them this morning on some of that kind of stuff. So, they made some adjustments last week that made it a little bit better, but it's baby steps as far as I'm concerned. So we're still working that part out basically at this point. But overall, I mean, things are progressing very rapidly here. I will tell you that it's been a fantastic relationship to have us get so lucky to be able to hire Deputy Director Ivanberg with me from his experience going through this. He has been a godsend. I don't even have any hair now. I couldn't imagine if I didn't have him what it would be like. But I think one thing that I will tell you that I underestimated, I guess, is all these individual code plugs for how the radios get programmed. I mean, we said, well, you know, there's 5 or 6 different models. It's not a big deal. Oh, my goodness, no. That's so underestimated because there can be one little tweak on one radio and to make the whole new code plug just for that. type
But isn't
thing.
it thousands, it could be thousands of combinations too, right?
Oh, yeah. It's just phenomenal. So, yeah, if there was anything I underestimated, it was that one type deal. But we're progressing well. I mean, my hope is to put public service, like highways, that kind of stuff on the system here shortly type thing in an October-ish time frame, but still, and then try to work towards public safety into December for a time frame. But a lot of it's all going to depend on our training because we've got to get out there and train all the users for everything. And, you know, we don't want to do it half-assed. We want to make sure people know how to use this properly before we go live with it. So that's kind of where we stand. Quick update.
Anthony, is there anything you want to add? Legislator Dolo?
No, I just want to thank Joe and Neil have been a big asset, and so is Blue Wing. We're very lucky they're all working together and looking out for the county, and it's worked out quite well. So we're glad we got them in our back hip. So
Anything else? Anything else? Legislator Maxey?
Thank you, Mr. Reed. I did just want to tell the board I heard back from some of the end users on the EMS paging side, and they said things are much improved. So we'll get to 100% eventually, but I'm glad to hear things are getting better. I'm glad that there's an open line of communication. So it makes me happy to know we all work together, right? We all get along, right?
Good. Thanks, Legislator Maxey. Anything else? Thanks, Joe.
Yep.
Nice work. Anything else come before the committee? Thank you all for coming. Motion to adjourn. Mr. Campbell, Mr. McBride, thank you. Put your mask on, depart. Now, here's the guy that said, I gotta get out of here, right? You gotta leave. Fire, you gotta go.
I thought